If you're like many people, you've found that cutting carbs is a great way to lose weight and improve the way you feel. So if cutting back on carbs is beneficial, wouldn't it be best to just stop eating carbs altogether? There is a diet that lives by this philosophy called the Carnivore Diet. This video completes our two-part series on how your body runs without carbs by discussing the pros and cons of the Carnivore Diet. In part one of this series, I explained how carbohydrates are used by your body for energy and how your body creates energy when you reduce or eliminate carbs from your diet. In a nutshell, your body has three main forms of energy that it can utilize, namely carbohydrates or glucose, free fatty acids, and ketones. Glucose is a universal energy donor, meaning that any cell in your body can take it in and use it for energy. But free fatty acids are a different story. Because of their size, they are too big to cross over the blood-brain barrier, so your brain cannot take them in and use them for energy directly. Fortunately, your brain is more than happy to run on ketones, which are an alternative energy source that your body produces in the absence of glucose. Your brain not only runs on ketones, it may thrive on them. In fact, the origins of our modern-day ketogenic diet can be traced back to the 1920s, when the diet was found to be successful in treating children with drug-resistant epilepsy, which is a seizure disorder caused by abnormal brain activity. And beyond the benefits of the brain, research by prominent scientists like Drs. Thomas Seyfried, Stephen Phinney, and Dom D'Agostino is showing that ketones may have benefits ranging from cancer prevention to better athletic performance. Now, there are two things that will cause your body to make ketones. They are a very low-carb diet and fasting. If you want to eat and still make ketones, you will need to select foods that contain very few carbohydrates. And if you remember back to your high school science classes, you might recall that carbohydrates are made by plants through a process called photosynthesis. So we can make the broad statement that any food that comes from a plant contains carbohydrates. And this is where we see the basis of the carnivore diet movement coming into light. In essence, if you don't want to eat carbs, don't eat plants or things that come from plants like vegetables, nuts, seeds, and berries. So, is this a good idea? Well, I will preface my comments by sharing that I have never followed a carnivore diet, and I was unable to find studies with human subjects or animal models that evaluated the long-term health impact of the diet. So my points are based on anecdotal evidence and opinion. And with that said, let's take a look at some pros and cons of eating only animal products. And I'll start with some pros. I can see some benefit in the short-term use of a carnivore diet if it is used as an elimination diet. A diet that is avoiding all plant-based foods would naturally contain no gluten or sugar, which are inflammatory foods that can cause digestive problems. So by going all meat for a short period and then slowly adding healthy carbs back into your diet, a person could theoretically pinpoint irritating foods to avoid long-term. A carnivore diet would also naturally eliminate FODMAPs, which is an acronym used to describe types of carbohydrates that don't digest easily. And in sensitive individuals or those with irritable bowel syndrome, these FODMAPs can cause digestive issues like gas, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. I would also imagine that some people might find the carnivore diet inviting as a weight loss tool. As long as you are not overeating protein, which could be easy to do on an all-meat diet, and you are avoiding carbs, your body would have a hard time maintaining insulin levels high enough to block fat burning. The lack of variety in the diet could also lead to disinterest in eating, too much. So that could have an unintentional calorie restriction effect that would add to weight loss. And the carnivore diet would push your body into ketosis fairly quickly because the lack of carbs would force your body to make ketones. Now, if we look at the cons, I would need to start with the lack of variety. For some, this would be a non-issue, but a carnivore diet would completely eliminate nuts, seeds, berries, and vegetables that, in my opinion, keep a diet interesting and enjoyable. The next con would be the lack of research into the long-term effects of the diet. While I'm not saying that the diet will inevitably be found to be dangerous, at this point, the consequences are not known, so until more research is available, there is no certainty that life on animal products alone is beneficial or dangerous. One thing that we do know is lacking from an all-animal product diet is fiber, which is a non-digestible carbohydrate that can be used as food by the good bacteria in your gut. And that use leads to the creation of short-term fatty acids that are produced when the good gut bacteria ferment fiber in your colon. And these unique molecules have a tremendous anti-inflammatory effect on your body, which is vital for the prevention of many diseases. They also have a direct benefit to the health of your colon. So if colorectal cancer is something that runs in your family, you might want to look twice before cutting out all vegetables and whole carbs. And lastly, there are nutrients that we cannot easily get from animal products alone. Fiber is one of those nutrients, and beyond being a food for your friendly gut bacteria, fiber promotes healthy bowel movements, so constipation can be an issue for some on the carnivore diet. Vitamin D is another example of a nutrient that is most abundant in plant foods. Your body cannot make or store vitamin C, and therefore it must come into your body from your diet. And phytonutrients, which are literally plant nutrients, would be lacking on the diet. These nutrients only come from plant foods, and they act as antioxidants that protect your cells from damage and have been shown to reduce your risk of very serious conditions like cancer, heart disease, strokes, and Alzheimer's. So I see the appeal of the carnivore diet for some individuals. However, I question if it is necessary to go to the extreme of eliminating all carbs for three main reasons. First, there is nutritional value obtained from eating a mix of plant and animal foods. Second, we still have a lot to learn about the impact an all-meat diet has on your overall health. And lastly, in my experience, even the most stubborn metabolisms can be coaxed to burn fat by simply limiting carbs rather than omitting them altogether. For instance, my 21-day keto challenge includes salad and cooked vegetables every day, and it never goes over 25 total grams per day. So if you are on the fence about whether or not to eat carbs, you might want to check out the 21 daily menus in my challenge. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this series has been helpful, and please subscribe, and I will see you back here next week. Thanks.